We're going to take you into one of the most beautiful churches in Sicily, and it's right in our backyard in Aci Catena. The mother church in Aci Catena is dedicated to the Madonna of Catena, which means chains or locks.
It's a great story. It's an unbelievable church. As a matter of fact, I told Esther that from now on, we're going to make that into one of the stops, a brief stop on our groups, because as I left the church, I said to her, I said, Bonsta, we are now on a mission from God. Where do you see this place, and where do we talk a little bit more after you take a look at it? Okay? That's what
All
I
right,
want
let's
to say.
go in. Ancient roads here. Buongiorno signori.
Buongiorno anche lei.
Siamo in Aci Catena e questo albero?
Albero è arancio, frutto, arancio amaro però.
Arancia. It's a bitter orange.
Gelpato, succo buono.
È succo buono, ma è amaro.
Sì, anche se è amaro.
The juice is good. The juice is good, but it's a little bitter. He said it's good.
No, li lasciano così per bellezza.
È bello. They leave it like this for the beauty. There you go.
Per il momento non sono buoni. Ora sono secchi.
Yeah, it's very dry. E tu come chiama?
Io Salvatore.
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 No, Salvatore,
Sì.
Salvatore. Diego. Una buona giornata.
Da lei, signora.
This picture is magical. Virgin Mary, Immaculate, 1600s. Oh, there's something so moving about this church. It's our first time here, believe it or not, even though we live here in Aci Catena. This picture shows a typical scene of the 18th century here in Sicily. And there's the beautiful Virgin Mary. This church was built in 1586, but already in the early 15th century, there was an altar here. One of these frescoes is from the 1400s. This is Saint Candido. And here's the confession booth. St. Peter, always with the key. This is Rebecca. Padre Carmelo with the Pope, quando?
2000, questo no, questo l'anno 2 anni fa.
2 years ago.
Allora, questa chiesa è dedicata alla Madonna della Catena e questa devozione nasce a Palermo ed
It was started in Palermo.
Come miracolo. Erano 3 prigionieri che vengono arrestati in maniera sbagliata e si rifugiano dentro una chiesa che erano incatenati. A questo punto pregano la Madonna e la Madonna rompe le catene e da qui nasce la devozione alla Madonna della Catena.
Madonna è
lei, la catena.
There's
Vengono
Madonna.
rotte, no?
In the 1400s, there were 3 prisoners in Palermo, and they prayed, and she came and broke the chains, and they were free.
È arrivata qui e hanno dipinto questo affresco.
Look at that.
Dove la Madonna presenta Gesù bambino con le catene in mano. La catena,
Da quando ho fatto questo fresco?
1400.
1400s, this beautiful
è stato un
painting
po'
was
ritoccato,
made,
no?
and it was touched up a little bit. And then slowly,
Dopo, pian piano, la devozione aumenta perché
the devotees increased.
Tutti invocano Maria per liberare dalle catene del male, del peccato, delle malattie, e poi sofferenza, dolore,
Those who were suffering had
malattia.
pain. They started playing for Catena.
Mamme che non possono avere bambini chiedono grazie del parto.
Mothers that can't have babies started praying to Catena.
A questo punto questa devozione cresce e i
devotion
cittadini
increased.
di questo luogo, che si chiamava Scarpi, perché facevano i calzolai.
The original name of this town was Scarpe.
Scarpi.
Scarpi come shoes.
Sì, perché sistemavano scarpe.
Because a lot of the people in this town were fixing shoes.
E decisero di pregare molto la Madonna.
And they decided to pray
statua.
To the Madonna, and they made the statue.
Chiusa qui.
And it's in here, Agosto?
15 agosto
15th August
e
she comes
11
out.
gennaio.
And 11th of January. Maybe we'll come here when she comes out in
Tutto
11th January.
Vestito in oro.
Everything in gold.
Perché ognuno che dice grazie alla Madonna lascia qualcosa del suo
Everyone who was blessed by her left some kind of
abbiamo
gold.
avuto 20 pezzi d'oro.
Wow. This year, 20 miracles,
miracoli.
20 miracles
qui
were
pieno, il giorno della festa.
Popular
Aci Catena.
That they decided to make it Aci Catena. So there you go.
11 gennaio
11th of January.
1693, grande terremoto.
There was a large earthquake in 1693, as you guys may know.
Tutti i paesi vicini cadono.
All the towns in the area fell.
Aci Catena solo 70 morti.
Only 70 died in Aci Catena. Un
Gridono
miracolo.
E per questo 11 gennaio si ringrazia la Madonna.
So that's why on the 11th of January they thank Catena again. Wow, learn something new every day.
Candido martire. Ed era un martire.
A martyr. Saint Candido. Have you guys heard of Saint Candido? There's...
Mummia.
Wow.
Ossa vere.
È vero.
Abbiamo festeggiato domenica.
I have to tell you, there's something about this church. I got goosebumps. There's some beautiful spirit in this church. I have the same feeling when I go to St. Alfio in Trecastagni. I'm telling you, this church, there's something special. Okay, now we're going to go into the museum. See all these treasures here? Museo Maria Santa della Catena. Wow, look at this. These are different clothes that the priests wore. Da quanto anni?
700.
700s. Wow, look at this. Look at that umbrella.
Museo della Devozione.
Museum of Devotion. And just like St. Alfio, remember I brought you into the sanctuary of St. Alfio in Trecastagni, where miracles happen.
Sono abiti votivi dei genitori che ringraziano la Madonna per la crescita, e quindi sono tutti abiti votivi. Questo invece è il culto della Madonna della Catena in Sicilia.
These are all the catenas. Here it is in Villa Seta. All these places celebrate. There's Gangi over here, Riesi, there's Enna, Nicosia. Grazie mille per tutti. That's beautiful.
vetro, insomma, guarda se
Un
un altro posto lo chiude.
No, you know what he said to me? He said he's been watching our car this whole time because we left the window open, and he said if you're going to go to other parts of Sicily, don't leave it open. Gentilissimi, grazie mille. Al, what do you have to say about that?
These guys are nice guys, and I'm not as boxing as I was before. I have at least 6 inches to work with, so that's plenty.
But he said you left the window open.
I wanted to hear it out.
This is the main square of Aci Catena. Behind there is the municipal building. And this is where we got our official residence cards, medical cards, and everything. There are offices behind this municipal building. So there you go. Are you guys enjoying these little rides with us as we go all over Sicily? I have to tell you guys, you never know what to expect in Sicily. And let me tell you that the reason we went to that church was to meet with Padre Carmelo because we're going to do a Sicilian project class there starting in January. So there you go. Out of a meeting that we had, I walked into that church and I was like, oh my God, there's something about that church, and we found another treasure.
Well, the whole idea of having churches named after prisoners is not a new one. As a matter of fact, for those of you who have visited Rome, you've seen, I'm sure, St. Peter in Chains. That's where the beautiful statue of Michelangelo, Moses, reputed to be his best work is.
Yeah.
St. Alfio, Sanctuary of St. Alfio, the three brothers were, comforted by God, Jesus, during their captivity with chains and all this other stuff. So the whole business of praying, and in this case is the mother, Madonna, and the
Maria,
and then the whole build-up over the centuries makes it particularly, in my view.
Those frescoes too were unbelievably beautiful.
Those frescoes belong in Rome. I'm telling you right now, this church is not a Sicilian quality church. This church, in my view, is a Rome or Florence or Venice quality church. And it's right under our nose, Bunny.
What do you mean this church belongs in Rome? It belongs right here in Sicily with all the other treasures, like the one at San Agata in Catania, Santa Lucia in Ortigia, Santa Rosalia, and all the other beautiful churches here in Sicily.
It's an understated and undiscovered jewel.
Agree.
All right. You do agree. You do agree. I would like to see travelers coming here. Okay? I would like this beautiful sanctuary exposed. The artwork here, Esther, is some of the finest I've seen in Sicily, in churches. Yeah, in Santa Lucia, in Ortigia, you had Caravaggio, but you have masters over here, number one. Mm-hmm. The work around the asp, the frescoes around the asp, just blew me away. And believe me, I've been to 100 of these churches. Yeah. It's a jewel. It's a jewel.
Now, you were saying that it's like your hometown of Lawrence. It's a little bit rough and tumble. And in fact, the priest said that there's many disadvantaged children, many disadvantaged families that live there. And so it's like Lawrence, except without the churches, right?
Right. I mean, it's Lawrence with churches. And let me tell you about what these folks did. This is a parish of about 10,000, according to what Father told us, which I was like staggering, 10,000 people, right?
It's pretty big.
So back in May, when the war in Ukraine broke out, the first refugees began to arrive here. Okay, there was one family, but the family that I wanted to talk about right now that's here is a 16-year-old girl, her 40-year-old mother, and her 60-year-old grandmother. Okay, you know what the parishioners did? They took an abandoned building in town, and with their own money, they made it into a home for these people, right? Am I correct in saying?
Right now, So they renovated the home and they're paying for all the utilities, so the light, the gas, water, so forth. And the family is getting €300 a month for everything else.
Right.
Not a lot.
So I talked to our president. When I got home, it was like, it was like on my mind. I'm like, we have to do something. After all, we're on a mission from God. I called up Giovanni Lanza, our president of the Sicilian Project. I explained the situation to him. I said, Giovanni, I want to do two things if it's okay. In January, when we start our Sicilian Project teaching, we will have Esther teaching this time along with Stefania to help her. I want to invite the Ukrainians in so they also can learn the English language. And he says, that's a great idea, Alfred.
Yep.
And the second thing is, I want the Sicilian Project to make a donation to the priest to give money to these Ukrainian refugees as they come.
There's
$300 a month doesn't even pay for
one
food.
family here. Another one went back to the Ukraine. There were two families initially. They went back to the Ukraine because they were missing their father so much. So they may be coming back because they really enjoyed their time here. And they're going to assess how the situation is in Ukraine. They're right in Kyiv. So they're right in the capital, and they may come back. So we'll keep you up to date with all the information on that. But for now, those are the things that we're working on with our nonprofit, the Sicilian Project.
Well, for those of you who would like to make a donation over here, and I want you to think about this, okay? We're talking about a beautiful, undiscovered gem in an understaffed, there's only 2 priests in this place, 10,000 parishioners, right? Make a donation to the Sicilian Project, www.thesicilianproject.com, okay? And in a memo or email or whatever, just say, this is for the place in Aci Catena. We're going to be doing our classes. We're going to be now helping Ukrainian people
I'm
there.
excited for January because that's when we start the classes and when the statue of the Madonna della Catena comes out for the second time.
Esther, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to have a priest accompany you on one of the tours groups this week, within the next few weeks.
And we're going to have a meeting with him, and perhaps they will say Mass together. So that's going to be super cool. That's going to be in October.
So that'll be good if we have the American priest and the Sicilian
Father
priest
Carmelo
say a Mass, brought to you by
Yumi in Sicily.
Yumi in Sicily. We're going to help Ukrainian refugees, right?
And
thanks to Yumi in Sicily and the Sicilian Project, correct? And now we're going to train underprivileged kids. And believe me, this isn't going to be a one-time shot. We're going to do two initial groups. And if it works out well, we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, we had
and
we're
going to need your help on this.
Yeah. In Brolo, in fact, we did the Sicilian Project for 5 years. But I see great potential here as well. All right, so let's go now get some flowers in our little flower shop. Now we're stopping here to get some plants for the house. And this is interesting. Look. Grapes. Oh, look at the doggy. Let me take you inside.
Quella bianca.
Look at how beautiful this is.
Le 6 di Sofini, quelle là. 3, 18.
I have no idea what kind of flowers these are, but they're beautiful. Great little dog. Her name is Stella. Stella. I remember one year we bought a lemon tree over here. Gave us some fruit. Ooh, what's this? Pomegranate trees. Oh, this is interesting. Red and white. I think I'm going to get this one. as you saw in the video, this is what I got, €5. Not sure the name of it, but she said it was a winter plant. So it's gonna rest nicely in our outdoor deck. What do you
Named
think?
after me. It's called a Bloomin' Idiot, Esther. You know, somebody asked me last week the kind of beer that I was drinking. On the show last week, I was drinking this brand of beer. If you could read the label, it says Bavaria on it. Okay, you want to talk about phony advertising? Where is Bavaria? What country? Germany, right? Yes or no, right? So I'm looking at the label as I'm drinking this beer. The beer is made in Holland, the Netherlands.
Is it good?
It's great beer.
Nice and refreshing.
69
right?
cents a bottle, too. It's just unbelievable, the price. It's just a great beer. Now, can we talk about one other thing before we tune out, or whatever it is we do at the end of the show?
Well, why don't we talk about Cassible?
All right. Quickly tell the people about Cassible
so
and what we're going to do.
First of all, when we were down in Avila, we did a lot of shooting, Mazzamami, and also a little bit in Avila and so forth. And a few months ago, my Italian teacher said, when we were down in Avila, she said, you know, the Armistice, yes, the Armistice in 1943 between Italy and the Allies was signed in Cassible, the small little town just outside of Avila in the province of Siracusa. And I was like, whoa, we got to go find the plaque that's there. But we went on a hunt and couldn't find it. On our way to Cassible, the site of where the Armistice was signed September 3rd, 1943. Little town.
79 years ago, Esther, God rest the soul of the faithful departed who died in that war. The Italians got pretty much smoked by the Germans after the Armistice. Hitler sent his divisions into northern Italy, and the Italian army, really, which had no fuel or ammunition, got destroyed.
Apparently everyone who was part of the signing lived in this complex right here. But we've talked to about 5 people and no one seems to know exactly where it was signed. But we'll keep hunting. I'm walking around trying to find anything that signals that the Armistice was signed here. This looks like it could be, but there is a plaque, and it's a very, very small plaque. So the story is, Alfred, that there was a plaque there in 1943. This is where the Armistice was signed. It was in English, and then someone stole it. A patriot, a journalist stole it, destroyed it. And there's an association of Cassible, a historical and cultural association in Cassible, that holds memorials not only on the 3rd, because the 3rd is the day that the Armistice was signed, but in fact they kept it quiet for 5 days. They didn't make it announcement till 5 days afterwards. So sometimes they have some kind of an event on the 8th as well. But it's a small little plaque, and who would have known? Who would have known that the Armistice was signed in a small town? Because there's no signs anywhere. And while we were there, I kept asking people, and they're, oh, maybe it's over there, maybe it's over there. Nope. And do you know where the Armistice was actually signed at? The actual location was in Baroness's home under an olive tree.
Here's what I know, Esther, about Operation Husky with Patton and Montgomery. There were thousands of American troops, Canadian troops, and British troops who either died or were seriously wounded in the liberation of Sicily, okay? This is what I know. And to go into a town where you cannot find a goddamn sign that says this is the spot where the Armistice was signed, I have been, she knows it, I have been furious
We've
all
both
week.
been.
So I called up again this morning in my discussion with Giovanni Lanza, our president. I said, listen, we have to do something. The Sicilian Project has to do something. So he says, go ahead and do it now. He is a veteran himself. He was in the Air Force, okay? He was born in Italy, but he served our nation, United States. And as a matter of fact, he was even stationed in Sicily for a while. He says, what do you want to do? I says, there's only one major road going through this little backwater town, Giovanni. I want to be able to put a sign, like a road marker, on a stick. I mean, not a stick. I mean, a professional
Something
sign.
that says the armistice was signed.
The sign in this way. Make a right. Okay, so when people come here, veterans or sons of veterans
or anyone interested
grandkids
in the
of
war,
veterans, they can find the place. So we're going to do it. The Sicilian Project, we're going to reach out. Esther's already been in contact with people.
September 3rd, 1943, this is the 79th anniversary, and the guys in the Cultural Association were telling me that they're going to be a big celebration for the 80th.
Well, listen, if you want to help underwrite it, will you send us an email? Okay, I think we've authorized I'm going to authorize $2,000 for one of the roadsides signs. So if you want to help kick in, please let us know. Email Esther, and we'll make sure that you know. And finally, Esther had an idea, which I'm agreeing to. When we went to the West Coast, to where?
Termini Imeresi.
Okay.
And the site of Himera, the famous battle that changed the fate of civilization, and there's the Temple of Victory, and there's no sign that says, here is the famous Victory Temple. There's a restaurant called Himera Restaurant. It's really, really good. But we need to put a sign there that says this is one of the most important locations, the site of an important battle, right there in Termini.
You know, it just blows me away. You know, I've said this for 20 years. Italy is a living museum. We both have said that.
Outdoor museum.
But now, the lesson that I learned after going through our hometown, Aci Catena, is that right under our very noses is a historic and beautiful sanctuary, a beautiful church that if it was in your hometown, they'd be lining up to get in.
I keep saying there's endless treasures here in Sicily.
For sure.
And we're so happy that you're tuning in to allow us to bring you these treasures here on our YouTube page. So thank you. Thank you for trusting us.
Look at that video again closely. The first part of our video, today's video, the interior of that church and that Hall of Miracles. What did he say? That there was 20 miracles that happened this year?
20 miracles, and they got 20 pieces of gold.
This year they got 20 pieces of gold, and there was 20 miracles that happened because of people praying for the intercession of the Madonna. Who's the Madonna? St. Mary.
Catena.
Mary's the Madonna, all right? Now, it's not that we're overtly religious. We're spiritual more than we are overtly religious, but I'm telling you right now, this is God's work that we have to do. We have to show the 12 million Americans of Sicilian extraction to wipe the cannoli cream off their face, okay? And stop telling people how happy they are that they're Italian. Kiss me, I'm Italian. Oh, kiss me, I'm Italian. And to do something proactive here in Sicily, okay? And if you're one of those cannoli eaters, if you're one of those cannoli eaters, that's okay. Eat your cannoli. But listen to what I'm saying. Because what's happening now, as time goes on, the younger generation there's a lot of intermarrying going on for the last 70 years, where kids go from 100% Italian, and then all of a sudden their progeny is 50% Italian, and then afterwards they get married and they're 25% Italian. It's dying out in the United States. Okay? It's really a serious issue. A lot of the festivals in the United States are dying slow death because of aging memberships. We were talking about that. Our friends in Boston and in some of the other groups, you've got guys 70, 80 years old, and the millennial population, that area that I'm talking about, is not as interested in prolonging the Italian,
sad.
yeah, heritage, and it's not all of them, okay? But we're going to do whatever we can.
And that's that. Thank you so much.
Sorry for the rant, but
watching.
it really means a lot to me.
Thank you so much for watching this video of you, me, and Sicily, and we'll see you on another one. Thanks for being here. Ciao.
Serenity Eagle.